All right, so let's just settle into our meditation posture. And just bring your mind in to the same place your body is. And check your feet, your sits bones, hands, shoulders are aligned with the hips. And just imagine your spine is that string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head. And just imagine there's someone above you very gently lengthening your spine, putting some space in between the vertebrae, just stretching out the muscles, just allowing them to lengthen. And just feel yourselves getting a little bit taller. And then just ever so slightly tip the head forward, drop the chin, and drop the eyes down, tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and relax the jaw. And then let's just scan our body from the crown of the head all the way down through our face, our jaw, back of the head, the shoulders, shoulder blades. Just let them relax and release and drop. Relax your throat and the chest and the belly and your limbs, hands, fingers and feet and toes. And bring the mind to the breath, just noticing the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. And just notice what's going on in the mind. And just remembering that whatever is, however it is you're turning up this evening, it's all good. And then just notice if there are any sounds in your environment, just allow them to be there. Try not to investigate. Just keep them in the back of your awareness. And then at the same time, keep the mind focused on the breath, noticing the sensations of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. And then just notice what's arising in the mind. You could be tired, you could be happy. Maybe there's something niggling in the back of your brain. Just allow it to be there, allow those thoughts and feelings to arise, to abide, and then just to dissipate. So let's bring to mind all these people of our life. A little equanimity meditation. So you can start with the people who you have constructive and functional relationships with, your family often. Sometimes people don't, but your really good friends, your loved ones and children and spouses. So these are the people we care very deeply for. We have profound respect and love for these people. And then there's those people in our lives who we don't respect quite so much. We find them a little bit difficult, a bit edgy for us. And then there's those people in our life who are just complete strangers and we don't particularly care either one way or the other. They don't really affect us. We don't think about them. But it's always good to remember, and it may have happened to you in this past couple of years. We've been doing this together. I find it extraordinary. We've been doing this almost 5 nights a week for almost 2 years now. So amazing. So perhaps in that time, A friend, an enemy, and a stranger may have changed place for you. This is the nature of impermanence, the nature of karma. Everything's a little bit unstable, changeable. So we can think in terms of equanimity, a way to stabilize our own minds is to try and think that perhaps the friend, the enemy, and the stranger are equal in their wish to be happy, to avoid suffering, and they're all equal in their incredible capacity, as are you, for this enlightened mind. This is who you actually really are and who you've always been. We just have to uncover it a little bit. So this is what we're doing tonight with this purification practice. So remember, there is no negativity that cannot be purified. Just keep that in mind as we motivate to do this practice for the benefit of all these people and ourselves as we're moving on along our path. So this purification process is psychological. I mean, we're working with the mind. When we're meditating, it's a psychological process. We're working with the mind. So we create negativity with our mind. That's where it all arises. So we can change it by creating positivity instead. And we keep that as our habit as opposed to the other one. So we start with the power of regret. And regret is in itself really going a long way to purification. It's kind of incredible. It's not about feeling guilty, and it's just more about acknowledging, okay, so I did this and I did this and I need to do something about it. It's kind of like a really grown-up sort of attitude, just taking responsibility, owning stuff. It's a little bit different than guilt. And the reason to regret is based on the logic of karma. So we experience everything based on our past karma, our past actions. So having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And so we don't want that. So logically, it would make sense that we would pull out these karmic seeds before they ripen. Or they ripen as suffering for us at a very inconvenient time. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger and attachment and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others, and think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we rely upon, we turn to Vajrasattva, who we see as a doctor. And we see that he has these methods that we can use to purify ourselves. So we're not asking for forgiveness here. We're not looking for a higher power to sort of take all our pain away. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his methods. So you can imagine him above the crown of your head. You can also imagine that this is your teacher manifesting in this male Vajrasattva form for your benefit. So your teacher may be female, but just imagine the mind of that person manifesting in this form for your benefit, for the purpose of this practice. And he's made of radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And this lotus, although born out of mud, is untainted by that mud, just like our enlightened potential, which is born out of our delusions, but yet untainted by them. And he has this beautiful, radiant, youthful yet ageless face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. And he has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom. The right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And there being crossed represents the union of these two which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. So the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing a wish for them to be free from suffering. This is what compassion is. So think particularly of someone you may have harmed recently, maybe a sentient being, even like an animal or an insect, and in the past, and then perhaps all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. Of course, we don't remember them. So then think about those people who have harmed you. And we have compassion for them because of the suffering they've caused you is going to cause them suffering in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these sentient beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. So now we come to the power of the remedy. And this is the actual medicine, doing the practice of purification. And so we start with the body. So Vajrasattva, imagine, very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, very forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around as it enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa, Sutokaya Mebawa, Supokaya Mebawa, Anarakta Mebawa, Sawasiti Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame, Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum, Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa, Sutokaya Mebawa, Supokaya Mebawa, Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified. And just imagine there's no way you could do anything other than be of benefit to others now with your body. And the next is a purification of our speech. And imagine Vajrasattva again very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart. And it arcs around and forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forces up to the top of the body all the negativity of your speech. And it overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you can imagine that all the gossip and the harsh speech and useless speech and lying, talking badly about others behind their backs, all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you and overflowing, quite forcefully overflowing, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe. So feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. So every single syllable that falls out of your mouth somehow is the right one for the right moment. So there's nothing extra. So it's all what's going to be beneficial for yourself, because you'll be hearing it as well, and for others. So the next is the purification of our minds, and Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light, this time from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's just the same as when you walk into a room and you switch on a light. The light instantly dispels the darkness in that room, doesn't it? So it's the same here. The light from Vajrasattva's heart touches your heart, and instantly the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your attachment and depression and grasping and neediness and bitterness and grudges and jealousies and all these kind of like uncomfortable feelings, disappointments, irritability, all of this instantly dispelled by this light and this mantra. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Sipokaya Mibawa Anarakta Mibawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Sipokaya Mibawa Anarakta Mibawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Sipokaya Mibawa Anarakta Mibawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Sipokaya Mibawa Anarakta Mibawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Sipokaya Mibawa Anarakta Mibawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Sipokaya Mibawa Anarakta Mibawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And then think there's no space in your heart for anything other than love, compassion, kindness, wisdom, bliss, forgiveness, creativity. So now we purify the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. So it's just an extra wash to make sure that all the roots are out, cleaned out. So you can imagine this time Vajrasattva sends light and nectar. If you wish, you can recite a couple of mantras and visualize what we've just done, the body, speech, and mind. Or just imagine light and nectar pouring into you, filling you completely and eradicating even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind as you recite the mantra. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Sipokaya Mibawa Anarakta Mibawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Sipokaya Mibawa Anarakta Mibawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Sipokaya Mibawa Anarakta Mibawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Sipokaya Mibawa Anarakta me bawa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa supokaya me bawa Anarakta me bawa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Tita me bawa sutokaya me bawa supokaya me bawa Anarakta me bawa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Trida me bawa sutokaya me bawa supokaya me bawa Anarakta me bawa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe. So now feel you are completely purified. Not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to omniscience have been removed. That's your enlightenment. So next is the power of resolve. This is a really crucial step in the process because we aren't going to do anything unless we're deciding to do it. So resolve is where you will make a decision to refrain from harming with your body and speech and mind. And it's probably not ever going to be, well, I'm never going to do this ever again, because we have habits and we're human. And we make mistakes and we fall back down the same path over and over again. But gradually, over time, just working on it humbly, quietly, slowly, without beating ourselves up too much, eventually you'll start to see these habits are just kind of atrophying, sort of fade away, disappear. So you start with something that you would like to work on, perhaps gossiping about your neighbor, maybe, or I don't know, whatever it is you gossip about. Maybe you just talk idly on and on about nothing, people not terribly interested. Maybe you have trouble with swearing or speaking harshly to people. So whatever it is that you're doing, maybe you just beat yourself up all the time, and negative self-talk. So whatever it is that you do, that's a habit that's maybe harmful to either yourself or others. Put a timeline on, maybe keep an eye on it, watch for it, notice it. As it turns up, then maybe make a promise to yourself, okay, so I won't do this for 30 seconds or 5 minutes or overnight while I'm sleeping. And this determination to not harm is what gives us the strength to change. So imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us, wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown, and think my guru's body, speech, and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same thing. LAMA YESHE used to call that union oneness. So next, we just meditate very briefly on this idea of emptiness. In emptiness, there is no I, creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So if you've received any teachings on emptiness, just place your mind there for a little moment. You can think that perhaps all phenomena are empty. All things are empty of existing from their own side. So they're just a bunch of causes and conditions. Or you can think that perhaps the way things are appearing to me right now may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit and the positive energy we've created this evening doing this practice together yet again to all the people of your life. And May the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, O Tub Shul Chang Shin Jam Gon Galloway, Tenzin Kyong Pelway, Konzo Dog Porze, Dog Sum Gurwe Leg Mon to Droop, Ha Dog So Dulje, Kondu Jab Ten Shok. Lama Ursel, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers and far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us and intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request. O Lama, please live long. And for Geshe-la, beloved teacher, leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduated path, you are the unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life. So there we are, gone like a dream. And welcome, Tanya. I didn't see you there before. Okay, everybody, good night. Lots of love. Thank you so much for coming. And I will see some of you tomorrow morning. Venerable Rabina is doing a precept, offering precepts. So I'm going to try and get up. I will try and get up for that. And so hopefully see some of you there and then maybe in the meditation. Okay, lots of love, everybody. Sweet dreams. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Okay, bye.
Thank you.